Karen Forbes, an accomplished technology executive and entrepreneur, at Kindrel, she has led global strategy, customer advocacy, and regional operations, driving innovation and transformation across complex organizations. She is also the founder of VIDDIT, a pioneering video guest platform that redefines how people capture and share meaningful experiences.
Combining your experience with your experience as a wedding videographer, so talk to me about your go-to-marketing strategy. Don't let me get ahead of myself.
My go-to-market strategy. So what's really interesting is, my initial thoughts on how the product would work or how we would sell it has evolved considerably since the initial launch date. So initially when I established VIDDIT, I thought we're going to go business to business. So we're going to sell the product to videographers and photographers who can then sell it on to their clients. The trouble with that is that a lot of the great videographers and photographers in Scotland have spent decades in the industry and they have magnificent reputations. And as much as I already have an established network in the wedding industry, I was a videographer in the wedding industry about 8 years ago. So they're not strong established networks, but also it's a new product, and as much as you can have a great network and good relationships and whatever, you cannot possibly expect a videographer who's 20 years in the industry building his business to start selling your product when actually he's probably not making a great profit from that sale, to be honest, compared to what he does make generally from a wedding film. It's a very small fraction. We cannot expect them to sell our products.
Mm-hmm.
So that initially that was my thought. We were going to do that. And then I spoke to lots of videographers and photographers and they were like, hey, Karen, we think that's a great idea, but we're not going to be able to
sell it.
To sell it, but also just the management. Like I just think if there was a lot of difficulty, not that the product is very, very, very simple to use, but of course there will be inquiries and that kind of, there may be a little bit of hassle involved in that, and we don't want to put that onto the videographer and photographer because during the height of the wedding season, videographers and photographers who want to be very, very busy are very, very busy. And so that was our initial go-to-market strategy, was that we were going to go B2B videographers and photographers. That will come back into the fold, I think, as VIDDIT grows and we have that great reputation there and we can afford to have staff that, can be on the end of the phone and all, just manage it much better. So that was our initial go-to-market. Spoke to lots of photographers and videographers, got that feedback, realised that was not going to work. And so now we are speaking with venues. So lots of venues will offer packages to the bride and groom. So when they sign up, when they book for the wedding, the venue will provide a preferred suppliers waiting list, and that will have lots of suppliers, videographers, photographers, caterers, all that jazz. And so we are now looking to get onto those preferred suppliers lists for venues. So that is one of our go-to-market, or part of our go-to-market strategy, and the other is direct to consumer, and that is through wedding fairs and also across social media, which has been traumatizing initially. I would say just kind of getting over myself and being out there on social media. Not traumatizing, that's a ridiculous way to describe.
That was so serious.
I had to get over myself basically, and go on social media. And so we've been on TikTok and Instagram, and actually that has been great. And we have got lots of great feedback from potential clients on there, people who are interested in booking with it. It is just, again, alive with chatter across, TikTok and Instagram. And also there's just lots of great suppliers on there. So it's just a really great place to get feedback on your product, but also just talk about the nature of the wedding industry, what's working for them, what isn't working for them at the moment, so that we can further refine our strategy in terms of, our social media strategy. So that is our current go-to-market approach.
That's pretty neat. Are people using it currently now?
So we have bookings. We don't have, but we don't have a paying client currently using it at the moment.
Okay. What's stopping you from doing that?
What is stop? So the bookings that we have are towards the end of the year.
Okay.
So we don't have people currently using it at the moment. So I have had friends and family use it for birthdays and that kind of thing. So we have had lots of that, but in terms of our first bride, that has not happened yet.
Okay. If people can still use it for birthday.
So they can use it for birthdays, yes. So, but I think what I want to be, so initially, obviously we have just launched the product, and if any of your viewers are interested in using the product for birthdays and things, I mean, certainly reach out. That we can definitely accommodate that, and we'd love to just get feedback on the product. But VIDDIT is, so there are companies who are offering video collection services for birthdays and for conferences and what else? For graduations. The VIDDIT product is very, very different from that service. We are not one of those companies that are offering it across the board. We offer a bespoke edit service. So with those other products, this is not bespoke editing at all. So we offer our product as a premium product that's specifically targeted for the wedding industry. I am a very experienced wedding video editor, and the editor that we have coming on board is also a very experienced wedding editor. And so it's not an automated process. It's very much we know what you want to see. Like when I talk about the 5-year-old dancing in front of the camera, like we know that is something that you want to see, when no one's talking. We know that when it takes Gran, 5 minutes to make sure she's getting herself in the frame or adjusting the lighting or whatever, like we know that is content that a viewer would want to see. And so all of that content is included in the edit, and the edit is done by an experienced editor.
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, you send people sign up on the platform.
Yes.
If I'm getting married, I sign up on the platform, then send a link to everybody that I know that I want to collect their videos. Then they send messages to me. They do videos. They do a video recording. They upload it back to me. Then you will edit all of this video as one collection. Is that the way it works?
Yes. So when you sign up for your platform, you're automatically sent an email with the link attached to that. And then along with the email and the link, there's a little, how to create a great video PDF. And you take that link and that PDF and you send it out to your friends and family. So however that works for you, however you've been communicating with your friends and family who are attending the wedding, you just drop it into that chat. So they will look at the PDF and then they can create a short video on their phone and upload it. They basically click the link, upload the video to our platform, and then we take it down at the back end, edit it, and then send it on to you.
You collage it, edit it, then send it back to
you. Then it's transferred back to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's neat. So if somebody is trying to, because you moved from zero to one, so to speak, you moved from the idea stage to the product stage, then you're trying to get to the market right now. Right? Am I correct?
But we're in market, so we have bookings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you moved from the idea stage to the product stage to now you are in the market, have bookings now. What advice do you have for somebody who is just at the stage of the idea stage and it's taking extremely too long?
I think that I have done this myself, and I have seen it in people around me who are setting up businesses or who have an idea. I think that I think that you have no business without a customer. And so I think that when you're at the idea stage, the way to get to 0 to 1, or when you're looking at getting from 0 to 1, you just really need to have proof of you really need to prove your concept. You really need to make sure that you have product market fit. You really need to make sure that your go-to-market strategy is the right one. And the way to do that is to speak to the people that you're looking to support your go-to-market strategy. So for me, obviously, it was those videographers and photographers initially, and speak to your customer. And so I think that I even found it for myself actually with VIDDIT when I spoke to the photographers and videographers, and they were like, this is a no-go for you. And I thought, oh, and then I kind of retracted into myself and just, and then I thought, no, I need to get back out there. I need to be able to do it a different way then. I can see that there's massive value here for couples. So I just need to figure out another way. And so I just think you need to, if your go-to-market strategy relies on partnerships, you need to be speaking to those potential partners to get their feedback, and they might come back to you and say, listen, like we can't do this, or we can't afford this, we don't have the budget to pay for it, etc. You need to get feedback from partners that you're looking to work with if they're part of your go-to-market strategy, and also your customers. Just really make sure that you do the groundwork, you do the legwork. We've all seen those silly memes on LinkedIn where it's like a founder trying to get his product into, to get product market fit, and he's trying to like hammer a square through a circle. Like we've all seen that kind of thing. And so, but I think that can happen if, perhaps you're focused on building the product and you've got your kind of blinkers on and your head down. And, I think that trouble can lie there. It's so important to get out and speak to your customer and just make sure that you have the product market fit, or you have, proof of concept, or you have validation from your customers that yes, this is something that we would love to have and something that we can afford to pay for. So I think that would be my advice. Of course, I haven't just raised 1.5. I don't have loads of experience, but just for me, from my experience and going from 0 to 1, getting out there and speaking to customers and speaking to potential partners has been the thing that has got us to market and got the bookings.
That's pretty neat. That's amazing. I love the fact that you had an idea and you are actively talking to people who could help potentially you could potentially work with, because I see it a lot of time where somebody somewhere have an idea. They are not technically inclined. They start looking for a technical person, then start building the products, then start building an amazing, fantastic products that nobody wants to use. I love the fact that you first of all went to the people who you are building this product for, and you got feedback from them, and you use the feedback to for future for each iteration, which is actually the way to go about it. So the next question I would want to know from you is what, it's still, VIDDIT is still pretty new, and it's definitely going places. But in the 4 months you've run this, what would you have loved to change in the way you probably started it up in running it? What do you know now that you didn't know 4 months ago before you took the plunge?
I think for me, so VIDDIT in the early stages is going to basically be founder-led. So on social media, I am the representation of the business. And so I think for me, we have only just joined social media, so about 3 weeks ago. So I think for me, I would have been more active in our direct marketing to customers. So I spoke to customers at weddings and that kind of thing, but I think that I would have been on social media earlier. That's not advice that I give to other founders, because I think that it's very individual for every founder, and a lot of the time you have to spend more time thinking about your go-to-market or your strategy, or exactly what the value proposition is and how you want to pitch it to your customer. But for me, I was very clear on that. I was very clear on the value proposition, and so I think that I would have had more fun on social media, if I had started at the very beginning. So I would say that that's probably something that I would have changed. But my advice to other founders would be just, speak to your customer and speak to your part, because it can really drive you on as well. I think if you have blinkers on and you're working on your product and you're working on this wonderful go-to-market strategy that you haven't proofed or you haven't spoken to customers, etc., it can bog you down and slow you down. Whereas I think that if you're out and about and speaking to customers and they're like, this is amazing, we would love to have this and love to use this, and partners saying that they would love to work with you, I think that can really drive you on, and also just really give you confidence when you're speaking to people who could potentially help you in your journey and join your team. So, I think that would be my advice, is customers and partners.
Good. That's good. That's very nice. Thinking about it, I'm so keen with you.
You're so what? Sorry?
I said I'm so keen.
You're soaking it in.
So, because the next question I have for you is related to something you said about you talking to, because I found that very, very important for me, talking to the people who you want to work with. How did you, and again, the fact that you've left the industry for about 8 years, how did you start making the connection again? How did you start reaching out to videographers again?
So what I did was I used women's networks that I'm already a part of. So there's Scotland Women in Business, Scotland Women in Technology. What else is there? There's another organisation, Glasgow Girls. There's Egg in Edinburgh. And so I did lots and lots of networking and told everyone about the business and who I was looking to speak to, videographers and photographers in industry. And I got a lot of warm connections through that, a lot of warm introductions. So I would say that was the quickest way for me to do it. I utilised networks that I already had, and I went to those networking events with a clear idea of who I wanted to speak to and what my ask was. So that was mainly how I got introduced to videographers and photographers. And then otherwise, I just reached out to videographers and photographers that I already knew in industry. And then I would say, could you intro me to someone else? Could you introduce me to this person, that person? And so that was ultimately how I did it. But I think if you did not already have an already existing network in the sector, use what you do have. So if you have access to these female networks, or if you don't, and that might be a great way for you to ask, go along to these networking groups where everyone has an ask and everyone has their own business, and you can intro people as well. You can ask people what their problem is and how can you help them solve it, and you can provide that support as well. So I think that's what's great about Scotland, is that there are so many of these networks and people are generally willing to help. So